Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan. Let's start with what Prime Minister Narendra Modi told the Financial Times and the top lines of this full interview, because a lot of tough questions or questions that drive a particular position or perception about Bharat, and that's been dispelled by the Prime Minister. The people of India have very different aspirations from what they had 10 years ago. Now, this is a question that's been asked around Bharat, where it is today, what people aspire for, and is the possibility or the goal of a Viksit Bharat, a developed Bharat by 2047 real? The Bharat growth story, where is it stemming from? So PM has said that people of Bharat realize that our nation is on the cusp of takeoff. They want this flight to be expedited, and they know that the best party is the one which brought them this far. So once again, underlining confidence of a re-election in Lok Sabha 2024. Meanwhile, there is also this question, and which is perhaps fueled by a particular perception about Bharat, and that the whole minorities, quote unquote, are unsafe in Bharat. Now, who is actually a minority? A population that is 20 crore or a population that is less than 1 to 2% of the all of Bharat or a group? So what PM Narendra Modi has said is that despite facing persecution, and he's highlighted the story about Parsis, despite facing persecution elsewhere in the world, they have found a safe haven in Bharat, living happily and prospering. That shows that the Indian society itself has no feeling of discrimination towards any religious minority. So rather than taking on any one particular section of society, he has highlighted the micro minorities, saying that if the religious micro minorities in the country of 1.4 billion people are safe, then that itself underlines the safety and security of anybody who comes under this classification of minority. Although many experts would argue that Muslims in our country are the second largest majority at nearly a population of over 20 crore and nearly about 16 to 17% of the population. That's the estimate. Meanwhile, on free speech, is freedom of speech and expression being curbed in Bharat? Is there a tight leash? These are all narratives. Now, this is what the PM has said. There is a whole ecosystem that is using the freedom available in our country to hurl these allegations at us every day through editorials, TV channels, social media platforms, videos, tweets, etc. They have a right to do so, but others have an equal right to respond with facts. In 1947, when India became independent, the British who left made a lot of very dire predictions about India's future. But we have seen that those predictions and preconceptions have all been proven false. Those who today similarly doubt the government will also be proven wrong. And there are perceptions which take some time to change. That's also something that he has said very clearly, that some perceptions, preconceptions take some time to change. They will change too. But the PM very clearly saying where we were and how we were left when the British left, and how we were and where we are today 7.5 decades later, is a lot to speak about, and the freedom that is there across is for everyone to see. On comparison with China, he said you've done a comparison with China, an autocratic nation, but it might be more apt to compare India with other democracies. It is important to recognize that India wouldn't have achieved the status of the world's fastest growing economy if the issues you have highlighted were as pervasive as suggested. So lack of transparency, corruption, ease of business, and some of the other hurdles that were highlighted as perceptions. So that's when the PM said often these concerns stem from perceptions, and altering perceptions sometimes takes time. On the Israel-Hamas conflict, he says, I remain in touch with leaders in the region. If there is anything India can do to take forward efforts towards peace, we will certainly do so. So all questions that were asked openly have been very openly also answered by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and perhaps settling to rest that Bharat continues to motor on, continues to power on despite whatever perceptions are being created. And he said that perceptions may take some time, but they will change. But Bharat is ready to take off.